Kia ora tātou. I'm here with Vanessa from Tawa today, and she is going to tell me about a wonderful program that has started up in her core.
So Know Your Worth is a women's program here at Tawa Core. It is intergenerational, so it is open for women from age 17 to open. It is open at the top. It's an encouraging, empowering program, building women from the inside out. So actually helping them identify who they are and what they're worth, and that it is not dependent on external factors, that it is intrinsic and born in them, it is woven into every cell, and just that knowledge alone is transformative. And so this whole program is around building that foundation, that steel rod that sits inside a woman to tell her that no matter what storms rage around you, you're worth more than anyone could ever pay. You are worth more than anyone could ever identify, because it is absolute and unshakable. So originally I was actually trying to build a women's program. I was starting to think about it for Tawa Core, and then I kept hearing about this Women of Worth program that was well established and had been utilised in other areas. And so I reached out to the Women of Worth team, and we had an interview on video, and really just talked through the heart, how it was established, where it came from, and why it was important. And it really aligned with what we were trying to do here. And so we jumped on and utilised that program and adapted it rather than writing our own.
It sounds like the kind of program that I think a lot of women need, at least something, of what you were talking about really knowing your worth, and that it is, it's like you said, something deep within you, not dependent on those external factors, because we get such a lot of messaging, don't we, that
Absolutely.
can play games with our minds and tell us that we're not worth what we know we are, because we know God made us.
Every single woman has walked a journey, and I think this content, because it honours a very, all of the different starting points. You can come into this room and share and build authentic and honest conversation with other women who have journeyed differently to you, but still encourage each other and listen with openness and grace and learn from other women's journeys, because that worth is absolute, because it is not dependent on your story. It's not dependent on what has happened to you or what has been said to you. And if we come back to that, then we can build positive lives from the now. I think this has happened. And one quote we use from Maya Angelou, which is really powerful, is we cannot control the things that happen to us or the things that are said to us, but we can decide whether we allow those things to diminish us. That's powerful. Even though the program its bones are written in faith, that faith is woven through its bones, it is written in a way and presented in a way that is accessible to everybody. So the wider community, clients, women, your core, it doesn't matter. It's grounded in faith, but it's presented in an accessible way.
Is there something in particular, as you've gone through preparing this course to share with others, is there something that's particularly challenged you personally?
One of the things I shared last night is our relationships with our bodies. And every woman, doesn't matter what age you are, has had a journey in the way that they love their bodies, their physical form. I've been encouraging the women to look in the mirror, because it's really hard for women actually not, we might do our makeup, we might do those quick things, but actually spending time looking at ourselves, because that's when our thoughts are the loudest. If we do that, then we're actually hearing what we're telling ourselves. And through that process, you might look, it's what I shared last night, is I might look in the mirror and think, gosh, I don't like my thighs, or I don't like my arms, or they might be too skinny or too large or too something or not enough, or, you have those thoughts. But someone taught me to rest for a second and think, gosh, what has this body given me? What has, these legs have enabled me to hike some of the most beautiful mountains in the world. These arms have enabled me to hold my babies. this stomach has housed my babies. Like actually looking at yourself in the eye and honoring what a privilege it is to live and what this body and this life has given you, instead of looking and seeing lack.
So this program sounds amazing, but not everybody lives in Tawa or near the program. So I just wonder, have you got a final word for anyone out there struggling today with their worth who can't get to a program? What's the one thing you'd want to tell them?
If all you can do today is replace one negative thought, just one. So if a thought, we all have them at some point during the day. If there is one negative thought that pops into your head, arrest it, stop it. And the way that I explained it with my kids growing up, but also with the women in this course, is it's a record. This negative thought, this group of negative thoughts, the way we conduct ourselves is a record that we put on. We put it on in our brains. Therefore, it does not belong to us. It is not a failing on our part. It is something that we wear. So take it off. Take off that negative record. Grab a hold of that thing that you're telling yourself, which is harming you, because it's not true and it's not kind. Therefore, we shouldn't engage with it. Take it off. Put it down, pick up a positive reaction to it. So if it has to relate to it in some way. So if you're a person of faith, you're made in the image of God. If you need a scriptural base for that replacement, you are made in the image of God, and God is powerful, and God is beautiful, and God is wonderful and crafted with this incredible intention. So put that on. Every time you say something negative about your physical form, well, it's impossible for God not to be beautiful and wonderful and all of these things. So if you're made in the image of God, hello. So put that on.
I think you're kind of paraphrasing really that verse in the Bible that says, take captive every thought.
Absolutely.
We're going to have thoughts, but it's about being intentional and conscious about what we choose to let in. And I like what you said about not just taking that negative thought and getting rid of it, but then you've got to choose what you replace it with. And I think perhaps we might sometimes forget that part. We've got to then choose intentionally to take hold of something good and focus on that. So thank you for all that good advice, and thank you for what you're doing. It sounds amazing, and I'd love to check in with you sometime when you're a bit further down the track. I know it's all fairly new at the moment, but thank you for what you're doing, and we pray that God will use the program, and we know that He's going to bring the right people to the program, and it's going to make a real difference in women's lives. So thank you for your time this morning, and thanks to everyone out there who's been watching, and we hope you all have a fantastic day. Ka kite.